Cecilia Baker. Before she married, she was an Alcott. Oh, was it Abbott? I know she said they were Back Bay, but I can't remember.
Dear, I think Mrs. Dowell is talking about that friend of the Bakers.
Who?
Francis and Howard Baker. We met them in Montego on our honeymoon.
Oh, yes, it's possible.
Oh, well, she's a very good friend of Mrs. Dowell's.
I'm sorry, I didn't follow the connection.
It was just an interesting coincidence.
Oh.
I'm afraid David's a little preoccupied. He's been that way all day.
Tell me, where did you meet your husband? I always find that so interesting.
Well, I was on my way to becoming a career girl.
So you gave up your career to get married?
I like to think of my marriage as a career.
That was nicely put, wasn't it, Ted?
I approve. I'm old-fashioned enough to want my wife at home.
Mr. Dowell, your dinner invitation is most welcome, of course, but I sense that there is a purpose. Am I right?
All right, if you want a direct answer. I wanted to meet you outside of an office, Mr. Schuster. Simple as that.
Why?
Because Martin Peyton has asked me to handle his legal affairs in Peyton Place.
I take it we're talking about the mill?
And other interests, too.
Are you involved in this, Mr. Swain?
I don't know. Am I, Ted?
I just thought you might be hungry.
I long ago observed that when my husband is being most direct, he's utterly devious.
Not devious at all, my dear. It's just that Martin Peyton has asked me to handle his local interests, including the mill. Mr. Schuster manages that mill. Now, whether or not I accept Peyton's offer, I thought that Mr. Schuster and I should get to know each other.
Well, I think it could make my life a lot easier if Peyton Mill had a local council. That could only be to my advantage.
Well, yes, proximity is a convenience. On the other hand, there is chemistry.
I think their chemistry will work very well, don't you?
My husband isn't an easy man to know, but he's easy to get along with.
Do you know, I would say exactly the same thing about David. Perhaps we'll be working together. I understand from Mr. Swain's paper that you're on the board of the hospital auxiliary. I did a great deal of charity work in New York, so if my name were proposed here, I'd be most happy.
Oh, well, that's very generous of you. But why don't we wait until you get more settled? I'm sure that your little girl takes up a great deal of your time.
Yes. She does.
You looking for something, darling?
I seem to be out of cigarettes.
Allow me.
Thank you.
Any change?
Oh, thank you.
You don't remember me, do you, Mrs. Dowell? Stephen Cord.
Oh, how do you do, Miss Cord?
Now, you still don't. I'm Hannah Cord's son, Martin Peyton's housekeeper.
Yes, I know.
Well, I was sure you would remember.
Exactly what are we talking about, Mr. Cord?
I have some papers for you from Mr. Peyton.
Oh,
I can bring them by your office in the morning.
if you have them here, I can save you a trip. Why don't I pick them up later?
Well, there's no inconvenience. I'm staying here. I'll wait for you in my room.
Good. I'll see you later, Mr. Cord.
It's all right, Jan. Just take it easy.
I'm such a baby. I can't help it.
No, you're not. You're just fine.
Betty, please talk to me about anything.
Remember the night at the junior prom?
Oh, yes. I had this big fight with Bob the week before. Oh.
Go with it, Jan. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. It's like surfing. You ride with the crest of the wave. Come on.
And he took Janet Fisher to the prom. And I went with Freddie.
You had a big blow up with his steady.
What a mix-up.
The whole evening was a comedy of errors.
All's well that ends well. Oh!
It's all right.
I'm so scared.
It's all right.
I don't want it. I don't want
Yes,
it.
you do, Jan. You do want the baby. And in just a little while, you'll be talking about a second one and a third one and a... You just wait and see.
Please hold my hand.
Miss Anderson, would you please get Miss Choate?
Yes,
We're almost ready. Mrs. Sinclair, you'll be all right. Now breathe deeply. Relax. Take deep breaths. I'll be right back.
I guess as psychiatrists, we ended up with egg on our face.
Sometimes it's difficult to help people, no matter how much they mean to you.
Dr. Rossi, telephone.
Excuse me. Thank you. Hello?
This is Claire Morton.
Yes?
I'm sorry to bother you at dinner, but it's Mrs. Sinclair.
Who?
One of Dr. Burge's patients. Mrs. Sinclair is about to deliver.
Any complications?
No, I expect a normal delivery.
Well, what,
I'd like you to stand by.
I'm on my way. Oh, Claire. Are you all right?
I'm fine. Now.
I'll have to go to the hospital. Mrs. Sinclair is having a baby.
Bob Sinclair's going to be a father?
Yes, you know him?
Yeah. Bob and I played football together.
Why don't you come over to the hospital with me, then?
You think it'd be all right?
Well, sure, he probably needs you to help hold him up. Come on.
Come in, please.
I must say I appreciate Mr. Peyton's thoughtfulness in sending you here personally with his legal material.
Mr. Peyton is a very thoughtful man. I imagine you don't have much time now.
Mrs. Dowell is waiting.
I'll get the papers for you. There you are. Peyton Papers, Volume 1.
Quite a lot to assimilate.
I'm afraid it is, and there'll be a good deal more to follow.
Well, I had to make it my business to assimilate those two. Good night, Mr. Gordon.
Oh, there's one more thing. Mr. Peyton also asked me to deliver this. It's a letter, personal.
Thank you.
You might read it now. I do know its contents.
When did you pass the bar?
2 years ago.
And then?
I clerked in Boston.
Wainwright and Kennedy.
Yes. I am familiar with Martin Peyton's affairs.
Yes, you must be.
Mr. Peyton is only suggesting that you bring me into your office to, well, to help you with additional work.
I've always worked alone.
But you've never handled Mr. Peyton's interests.
Of course, you're only suggesting that I accede to Martin Peyton's suggestion.
Is it that sinister? Mr. Dell, this would be an opportunity for me. And it is an opportunity for you.
Let me scan this and think about it. Quite frankly, if I accept Martin Peyton's offer, I'm not going to hire you just because he demanded that I do so.
Suggested, Mr. Dell.
Well, Mr. Cord, then you are the one who's demanding. You'll be here tomorrow, afternoon?
Yes, sir.
I'll call you.
Mr. Dell, let me put a question to you. A simple and direct question. Are you resisting because you don't like suggestions? However valid they may be, from whatever source they may come? Or shall we be perfectly fair and frank about this? Are you resisting it because I'm Hannah Cord's son? Mr. Dell?
Quite frankly, I don't know. And I'd like to know. So allow me to think about that, too. Good night, Mr. Cord.
Good night, Mr. Dell.
Preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place.
If we do, if you feel that we do, then we'd better go back to New York.
You're blaming me for making you come here. We're back to that again.
Well, you brought me to it.
Mrs. Jackson, I didn't come here to start an argument.
That's good.
But I did come here for a reason. I came to see you.
Why? I tried to be a saint. He wanted me to be a woman.
Who?